board. Okay, the zero reject and child fine. No student may be excluded from receiving a public education based on them having a disability. So school district representatives may not tell the parents of a child with a disability that since the child has so many disabilities, their needs cannot be met in a public school system. Even if the student has extraordinary needs, it is the school district's obligation to find a way to give that child the appropriate education. In this provision, it also prohibits schools from excluding children with a communicable disease such as AIDS or expelling students and ceasing the provision of special education services. The child fine part of this principle mandates that each state must be proactive in locating children who may be entitled to special education services, like through a public service announcement or highway billboards. The non-discriminatory evaluation. Students must be assessed by using instruments that do not discriminate on the basis of race, culture, or disability. For example, if you give a math test item that was based on football, the American student might think of their favorite teams or think about touchdowns or the gridiron, whereas a student from many other cultures would automatically assume the question was about soccer. And it might interpret the question incorrectly. They may interpret the question incorrectly. Further, in considering eligibility for special education services, a student must be assessed by multidisciplinary team in his or her native language using tests that are valid for assessing the areas of concern like reading, math, or social skills. Also, a student's eligibility for special education cannot be decided on the basis of only one test that is used. They have to have multiple tests.
I have the appropriate education principle, and this states that students with disabilities are entitled to attending public schools and receive educational services that has been designed to fit their needs, including specialized materials for the student to be placed in a different setting and or technology. This education is provided to the student at no cost to the parent at all. And then I have the least restrictive environment principle. This states that students with disabilities is educated alongside with students who do not have any disabilities. The law holds an expectation that students with disabilities should not be assigned to separate special need classrooms without the access to typical peers, except if it is the only option to provide appropriate education to those students.
Okay, and I have last the procedural due process as it applies to special education describes the legal procedures and requirements developed to protect the rights of the students, parents, and school districts. In respect to children suspected of having disability, due process guarantees a free and appropriate public education in the least restrictive educational setting. The parent and the student's participation is needed in order to have their rights protected, to have an input into the educational program and placement of their child, and to have options in case of disagreement with the recommendations of the school district. Parents are equal members of the IEP team, and the law requires that they participate in each step of the special education process. Prior to the age of 15, students should be included in the extent appropriate. At 15, students participate in the IEP process as required. That's it.
Yay.
Oh, good. Okay.